I'm Lovoni.
And I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Lovoni and Sarah podcast, where we talk all things weight loss and well-being. On today's episode, we're talking charisma. Why do some people seem so charismatic and you feel drawn to them? Is charisma something that can be learned and mastered? And what are the key factors we can practice to unlock charisma and confidence? But before we dive into the charisma episode, let's do our weekly catch-up. Lovoni, how's the week been? Remind us what your goals were. What have you been doing?
Well, my goals were to practice just tuning up my vagus nerve, which if anybody listened to that episode and has heard a bit about the vagus nerve, and it's very important, especially for rest and relaxation.
Yeah.
So just working on doing, just trying to chill a bit more. And, you know, one of the things is the humming or that sensation
sound
from meditating. So trying to do a little bit of that. I feel a bit foolish, but I think that takes practice.
Yeah.
You know, to just
get
over
becomes
that.
habit. Yeah.
So and not worry. I mean, it's not like anybody's around when I do it. So what about you?
I'm trying to finish everything before my surgery, because I'm not going to be able to do anything for quite a number of weeks afterwards. So that's been my priority, which still means that I'm finding it hard to put myself at the top of that list. But that said, there's some things that I've got to put at the top of the list now, because there's some requirements that I need to do before the surgery. So actually they're very health focused, one of which is increasing my water level that I'm drinking. So that's my focus, is to now be fully prepared before I go in and I go and get myself a shiny new left hip. So that's my main focus now. But it's come around fast. It's come around
fast. Yeah. It'll all be over soon.
Yeah. And then it'll be the next stage of my of my health journey.
I know you were telling us about something really important, and I just thought, damn it, I left my cup of tea in the kitchen.
Oh no.
Oh well. Yeah, in my nice pheasant mug of yours. Oh well. I'll just have to make another one.
Another one after.
Yeah. Seeing that we're recording the for YouTube, you can't just sort of dash off and come back.
Well, you can, but people are like, what?
Right. What's happening? Yes. So I was reading something about researchers at the University of Toronto carried out this large-scale study into charisma. It involved 1,000 people. Wow. I guess that's a pretty good size study. They found that charisma consists of a mixture of what they call affability and influence. Now, influence is defined as leadership ability and strength of presence, and affability was defined as being approachable and pleasant. Turns out to be possible to quantify charisma. It also seems that self-rated charisma levels are surprisingly accurate when compared to ratings by other people, which means people know whether they are charismatic or not. Maybe they don't know to the extent, but yeah, people generally know. And to not start this on a negative note, but it made me think when I was putting these notes together of people that listen to our podcast. They would have heard a story about me talking about a cameraman when I was up in Canada who wanted to fill me in on, you know, the whole confidence thing, right? But we would go out to eat with him. I was up there, it was like a business trip, and, you know, we were in meetings all day, and then we'd go out to eat in the evenings or at lunchtime. And I think he thought that he was charismatic by approaching our servers, our waiters or waitresses, just, you know, being ever so thinking he was being charming. And in actual fact, he came off as being a bit of a dick, and a lot of a dick, actually. And I just was embarrassed for him. And I think it's something that can't be fabricated like that. And I think that's another thing that makes people charismatic, is like being genuine.
Authentic.
And he wasn't. It was forced. And being authentic. Yeah. And we're going to talk about how weight factors into it too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I think there's a very fine line, isn't there, between charisma and arrogance. I think that's probably what you were just sort of describing there. Some people just have this absolute belief of themselves that they are the best. No one is going to tell them otherwise. No one can inform them because they know everything. And that's obviously when it just turns into arrogance, and it's quite an unpleasant characteristic.
And there's nothing charismatic about that.
There isn't
at all. No.
Charisma is something different, and I think some people can get mixed up and think that they are the same thing or very similar, and they're really not.
No.
Charisma is almost the unspoken, I would suggest.
Yeah.
And so if someone walks into a room or into a party or something like that, they can have said nothing, and already they have an aura about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we'll go into perhaps talk about what it is that creates this ability or this charisma. But it's certainly, on first view, I think, it's people that are very well put together. And by that, I don't mean that they have to be wearing the height of fashion
suits.
or expensive things. And often they're not. Often what they are, if they've made their own way in life. And to give you an example of someone that's incredibly charismatic, I believe, because it probably is down to personal opinion as well, against from one person to another. I think most people probably could agree that someone is charismatic, but maybe there's some nuances that people see differently. But for me, Lenny Kravitz is a really charismatic person.
Yes.
I mean, God, he could just walk into a room and command it. Now, if you broke this down into what he's wearing, I mean, not so much now but probably, you know, back in his heyday. But,
now he's still
yeah. But what he's wearing, if you actually looked at the basic pair of jeans or a t-shirt or a top or, you know, something, and even his hair, you'd be like, well, there's an element of going, well, you look scruffy, or you don't look put together, or you don't look like you've cared for yourself. You know, all of these things individually, but yet he's clearly chosen his style. He wears it with such style and with confidence, but there's nothing arrogant, I believe, about him or his persona. He's just absolutely commanding his space in this world, and that's who he is. And it comes from an underlying confidence because of what he's good at. You know, he's very, very good at his craft, at his trade. So he's got that, which he's got his foundation. But it's interesting when you start to break things down, isn't it? If you looked at the individual parts, you might question if that really is working. But when you put it together as the whole package, my God, does it actually work? And so I think that's something people need to bear in mind. It's that authentic belief.
Right. And yeah, like you said, he is confident, but something that I watched him on the Graham Norton show, which I love, and being interviewed, and he's in phenomenal shape. And he said, you know, he's in his 50s now, but he still takes great care of himself. And, you know, Graham said to him, there was like there used to be, there was a fold out in his recent album in there. And Graham's like, you're putting the older guys to shame, you know, looking like that. Usually that's when, you know, you just let it go.
Yeah.
And he said, well, why would you? It's your body. You want to treat it properly. And I like feeling healthy. And I think that also is a charismatic thing. Someone that just seems vibrant and healthy and just, I don't know, alive. Plus he's passionate too. I think he's passionate. He seems to be passionate about his craft. He doesn't babble on. He doesn't talk about himself endlessly. I think that he is quietly confident. I maybe not quietly, because I think he exudes charisma and confidence, but he doesn't talk about himself. Unless he's being interviewed now.
Well, yeah, not in a showy or arrogant way.
Not in a one-up type way. It's
I'm
even
best.
Sometimes, sometimes I think it's even hard to put words to what it is. But
it is a bit of an unspoken quality, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's almost not tangible really, but yet it is, because you can see it there and you just think, well, it clearly is, because I can see this person has it. But if you try to break it down, it's really hard to list or identify what those things are. But that could mean that some people that then say, well, I'll never be charismatic because I don't think I have it in me, or I don't know what it is, or I don't know how to do that. And I don't think that's true. I think that everyone within them has this little sparkle, this little something, but either it's very buried because they've not tapped into what that is, or they don't believe it, so they squash it away, or it's been knocked out of them in one way or another. Or there's the embarrassment factor that we've talked about on previous episodes, where you just feel embarrassed about where you are right now, so you feel like you're not worthy of showing people this sparkle that you've got, because you think, well, I don't deserve it because I look a certain way. And I think that's the thing that I would like to sort of talk about and to capture, is I think confidence is going to come from the input that you put into your life. So actually you have something which is your foundation. So if we were talking about him, it's, you know, as well as his trade, which is his music, you've just described he looks after himself. So he puts input
Very
into his life about his health. It's about how you treat other people. It's your generosity of your view of life. I think if you're quite a negative person or a negative view on life, I doubt that you're going to actually capture your charisma, because actually it just dampens that sparkle every time, in my belief. Every time you're negative about somebody else or someone else's situation or something, unless it's completely justified because something awful has happened, but it just dampens that sparkle that you've got, because it just drowns your own, you know, your own attitude and your own positivity. I really find it hard to be around negative people constantly, because I'm in general, I am not a negative person. And after a lengthy period of time with a person or a group of people that have that mindset, I can feel myself just thinking, I've just got to get this, this has just got to end, because it's pulling me down and down and down. Yeah, really hard. So I think that as well, isn't it? That makes a difference.
Oh, I think the positive outlook is a huge thing for charisma. And I think also giving that to somebody else, like a generosity of spirit too, like lifting other people up. It doesn't mean you've got to go around fixing everybody, but I think encouraging other people, like in a genuine way though, not doing it in a, people can see through falseness.
Yeah.
But I think being just that positive mental attitude, especially in the face of adversity, I think is can be very charismatic, and that can certainly be something that people can work on. It is that, you know, I don't know, I've gone back and forth on the whole charisma thing. Yes, you can learn how to better things about yourself to be more charismatic. Sometimes I think people just have it.
Yes, I mean, I do. I think they'll have it in abundance anyway, for sure.
Yeah.
There's, you know, perhaps there's a scale of this, and actually people that are right at the top of that scale are somehow just seem to be born that way.
Right.
But I think what you were just describing now, I think one of the things that's quite important is to remove competitiveness out of your life. So
and jealousy,
comparison, jealousy.
Yes.
We've talked about the difference between envy and jealousy. There's nothing wrong with a bit of envy, because I see it as spurring you on and emulating something. But if you're removing the competitiveness from your life and you're just there to improve, so whether that's improve your own life, improve somebody else's life, the generosity of thought in the way that you think about people, that calmness is most definitely part of charisma. Because if you really think about people, different people that are charismatic, they're quite rarely frantic people, are they? They're quite calm, grounded, in control kind of people. And I think that's something. So all of these elements that we're describing are qualities that each of us can improve within our own lives. Does that mean we're going to be right at the top of the charismatic scale? Potentially not. But what we will be is more confident and have a bit more charisma than perhaps we did before we started thinking that way. Because like, as I say, I do think we've each got this sparkle. It's just whether we allow it to shine and how we bring it to the front. And some of the things are particularly if we go back to kind of the health weight loss journey, some of the things that we've spoke about are really vital, but they can seem kind of a little bit hard work or quite challenging. So sort of self-discipline, positive mental attitude, control, choices, sometimes they all feel like things that we've got to battle with. If that makes, for me anyway, it feels like something you've got to struggle with a bit and go, no, I'm going to make the choice to do it this way rather than it being something automatic. I think with confidence and charisma, it should be something, or it is something that you can't fake. Like you said, you can't fake it, you can't make a choice. It's just something that's already there, and it's because you've got the foundation and the knowledge and the experience that you're going to fall back on. So maybe that's something we could each work on as well within our lives, is we've got this set of traits and characteristics which may not be as simple or as smooth, but we know we've got to do them. The self-discipline is something we've got to do, and the consistency to get the result that we want. But doing those things will then load the confidence because we've done them and we've got the trust within ourselves, and from the confidence can then come this aura, this sort of slight charismatic stance about what we're doing. I think that all of those things feed into it. I mean, I looked up what the meaning of charisma is, and it says it's a special magnetic charm or appeal and sort of a personal magic of leadership. But the point, those two things are, it's all personal, isn't it? It's not something else that someone else can give us. No. It's something that's coming from inside of us. And it becomes, one of the things that I read, which was quite powerful for me, was it's evident in the way that an individual communicates. So the way that charisma is demonstrated to other people is how you communicate to somebody else. And I think that, you know, with kind talk, kind attitude and approach to yourself, probably, as well as other people, because we've spoken about not speaking kindly to ourselves, that negative that we were just talking about, if you do it to yourself, it's going to drag you down as well.
Yeah.
So
and it shows.
Oh, it does. It really does. And I think that is something that we can get a grasp of, is the positivity to ourselves and to others, and create this foundation which can be our confidence. What would that look like for you? And what would you do you think you need to add into your mindset to help create your foundation, or have you got it already?
Two things. First of all, just, you know, as we're talking about this, anybody that's listening might think, well, why do I need charisma? But if you think about it, there's so many things that you do, like going for a job. Yeah. You know, yes, you can have the skills, but if you're up against other people's same skills and you've got that charisma, that quiet confidence, you can look at the interviewer in the eye, you can speak, you know, clearly, you can pause when you need to, just and how you carry yourself could be the matter of getting a job or not. Yeah. And you know, just getting people to do things. If you're somebody, say you're a volunteer and you want people to help you, having that
to
charisma,
listen.
to get people to listen and to help you, you know, there's so many things that it's good for, that you might not even think that you would need it. So I just wanted to put that out there in case anybody's thinking, why do I need to be charismatic? There's lots of reasons why. And you know, if you don't want to be, that's totally fine too. You know, we're all different. But you asked me about how do I see about like honing the charisma, building
your sort of foundation of confidence, which then allows your sort of charisma to then shine a bit more.
I think one, embracing authenticity. So not like you said about, you know, comparison, and we've said it many times, it's the thief of joy, but knowing what you're good at, not trying to be like anybody else. Like I said, just embrace your authenticity, lean into it, whether it's the way you dress, your beliefs, whatever, just own it for starters. And then a big thing, and this isn't a superficial thing, but I think is your health. Yeah. I think that if you feel vibrant, it shows. Yes. So exercise is a massive one for that. And even if you don't want to lose weight, and you're probably not listening to this if you don't want to, I don't know, or you just like listening to us talk, like that ASMR thing. But I think exercise and just eating healthy food. You know, when I say that, it doesn't have to be boring, but just taking care of yourself, getting sleep, drinking water, not staying out late, partying, just all that. I mean, you know, yeah, maybe once in a while, I don't know, but just all those things of just taking care of yourself, that shows. And I think that goes a long way. Also, I think people that are interesting seem to have charisma. Like I think people like Kevin Costner, who has interesting stories to tell. He's somebody that you want to stop and listen to. At least I think a lot of people feel like that. I don't know if you've ever heard, not saying that Ricky Gervais, I can never, yeah, he talks of Kevin Costner saying how he is somebody that you want to stop and listen to him talk, that he's an interesting person. So I think that's good. I think it's good to know about things. Just reading is always a good thing without being opinionated, to immerse yourself in things,
just to educate yourself.
And and then, you know, having hobbies, not, I mean, don't take them up just to be charismatic, but that's part of being authentic, is finding things you love, immersing yourself in them, learning more, you know, honing skills. Another thing I think is just being able to not so much talk to people, but listen to people too. Especially if you're, you know, going for a job interview, that's a really good thing. Or you're someone that works with people, whether it's in a post office or a restaurant. I mean, you know, people skills, that goes a long way. Radiating warmth. Now, that's where I think that's something that not everybody has. Some people just have that warmth where you feel taken in.
But don't you think that's the positivity and the negativity can really affect that? Because
for sure,
negative people I don't find them warm. I find it cold. So I think that's the positive to negative as well. That's something that you can work on within your own life. But you know, it's interesting, and I was thinking about this when we were sort of preparing for this episode, is all of this, if I then try and apply it to a health journey or my own sort of situation where you're trying to improve your weight or your health, is I think you can almost be this for yourself. So yes, it's great to learn all of these things, and it would be wonderful for other people to see you like that, but within your own life, perhaps you can create some of these traits and this sort of charismatic approach to your own health journey. And kind of by that I mean to be your own leading lady, because sometimes when you're doing these things, we're sort of going on a diet and you're trying to lose weight and you feel ashamed because you're overweight, you can feel almost apologetic within your own life, can't you? And you can almost sort of feel like someone else is running your life all the time, and you put yourself second. To become your own leading lady or man, whoever, you know, within your own life, means that actually you take some ownership, you take some accountability, but you also suddenly find this calmness and just say, well, I'm doing this because this is my life and no one else is going to change it for me. And that pushes out to everybody else, not in an arrogant way, not in an aggressive way, just in a way of a calm sort of acknowledgement and confidence of saying, no, this is what I'm doing because I want to do it for myself, and I'm not going to be embarrassed or ashamed or apologetic on the way, because I'm not going to suddenly wake up tomorrow and it's going to be done. So I'm going to have to make these changes, and it's going to take some time. And don't worry about what other people are going to judge you or look at you about. Just have that quiet inner confidence about doing it for yourself. I think that's one thing that can be taken from this, and it's almost showing up for yourself. So if you were going to do something for someone else, you would show up, you'd do it the best you could do. Well, at least I do. I show up, I do it the best I can do, I look after someone else in the best way I can. And I think that's kind of a bit of a charm within itself, isn't it? If you're known as the person that will always help someone else, and you're the one that's the reliable and you're the caring person, well, be that for yourself. And that's not always easy, is it? I think it's something which you potentially have to encourage yourself to do, because you might put someone else first. And don't you think that all of these things then that we're trying to describe, so the get rid of the negativity, put in positivity, the self-care, the actual genuine looking after your health through exercise and food, because you're right, you see people walking down the street and they look great, and it's generally because they've looked after themselves. I don't mean like massive muscles or like super skinny. I don't mean that. I just mean you can tell that they look after themselves. And I think that's the thing that I look and think, oh, that's what I want to get. That aura that you have around you is what I want. It doesn't really matter what you're wearing. It's probably different to what I would wear. It's, you know, all of that bit doesn't matter. And yes, I can look after my personality, and yes, I can change my attitude. And I made a decision a while back now that I'm going to do my utmost not to be negative about people, because you can get suckered into it, can't you? Sort of moaning about someone or criticizing someone else. Like, no, I've nipped it in the bud.
Perpetuates it.
It's really, toxic. So I've nipped that in the bud. As much as possible. I'm not perfect. I have a whinge and a moan every now and then, but I try not to do it too often. But the thing that I haven't got yet that I want, and I want it, is what I see in other people when they're walking down the street. Go, I want to feel the way that you look like you feel.
Right.
Whether they do
I totally
or not,
get that.
but they look like they feel great. And they feel confident in what they're doing and who they are. That's what I want.
Right.
And there is no shortcut to that. So to get that, you know, that sort of persona and that charisma that they've got, I'm going to have to put some work in, because it's not, I'm just going to wake up with it tomorrow. And so that, I feel, is inspiring. That's my inspiration.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Another thing I had written down here is positive body language too.
Yes, that's true.
You know, when you're open.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen Matthew McConaughey be interviewed.
Oh,
he
yes.
has very open.
He's incredibly
body
charismatic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, very charismatic. From his voice to, you know, he speaks with purpose, I think.
But calm, so calm.
Calm.
Firm, but calm. Yeah.
Yeah. So body language.
I say calm, so unless he's in Magic Mike. not so calm then, but as an actual person rather than
exactly. So that's something to think about, you know, when you're talking to somebody, or when you're trying to, you know, it could be even going for a bank loan or something. Just use your body language. Think of that. Smile at people. That's something that I wrote down too. It doesn't mean you have to be a doormat. Just get along with people. Just rub along with people. You know, you don't have to let people walk all over you. But I think charismatic people do. They don't take everything on board.
Personally.
They're not self-righteous. They just rub along. If somebody pisses them off, they just let it brush by them.
That's because they've got their own personal inner confidence to think it's not going to affect who I am.
Right? Yeah. So, but definitely, I think, as we've talked about this, is health. Yes. I think also seeing good in people, because not everybody deserves that, but, you know, situations and events, and also like an inner strength too, to get through what you need to get through, you know. I mean, some people are dealt really shitty blows, and then some things, you know, just happen one thing after another, rather than be you know, the victim. There is nothing charismatic about that. You could, I mean, the worst things could happen to you and still not charismatic. But you know, people that just forge ahead and quietly and just get on with it. I think it's a powerful thing. Positive thinking, like you said, definitely. You know, got lots of notes on this because I just think there's a lot to be said for it.
It's a lot to grasp, and sometimes it, like we said, it just feels like it's out of reach, doesn't it? But I genuinely believe that you can change life, that you can change the way that you think about things, and you will. That will be seen by other people. Your aura, if you want to call it that, you know, your presence as you walk into the room will change when you change all of these things, as well as looking after yourself and your health, for sure.
Yeah, like you said, you know, showing up for yourself, but being reliable, they're things that help to build confidence. And I think just because you're confident doesn't necessarily mean you have charisma. but
It's
I
a
think
stepping
that
stone.
if somebody does have charisma, they're quietly confident, definitely. So how to work on it, because there are things you can work on it, as we've talked about, develop interpersonal skills through understanding and practice, and then not wanting to please all the people, but just you can still, okay, I see your point of view, without starting an argument. Be genuine. That is a huge thing.
Yes.
Just be yourself, own it. Take care of yourself. Of course, we've said that many times. Follow through with what you're going to say. Smile, look people in the eye. Body language, keep that in mind. Listen to people. Say people's name in a conversation without it being like annoying,
too
like
repetitive.
that man I was speaking of when we first started this.
Yeah.
Don't be fake. Don't force it. That's a really big thing. So what's something you think you're going to work on when it comes to
so it's for me,
charisma?
it's that thing. It's that when I see that person walking down the street, that thing that I want, that's what I'm going to work on.
Right.
And
That healthy vibrancy.
The vibrant, the vibrance of health. Yeah, that's the thing. And I think if I can get that bit under control and in my life a bit more, everything else will follow suit. Some of it I've already feel like I've got kind of already there in the way that I approach things. I'm quite happy with the way that I approach those things, but that bit, not so much. And that's what I want to get into my life. I want it.
Yeah. And you'll get it. It's just like you said, it's just something to work at. And that's what we're doing. And that's why we're doing this.
Yes.
Is to, and I'm not saying only skinny people or slim people have charisma.
No. It's healthy.
Not at all. It's the healthy aspect.
Yeah.
It's how you feel. It comes down to how you feel about yourself. And I've been trying to drum this into a friend of mine who just keeps thinking it's all to do with, it's weight. And I'm like, it's a health. It's health.
Yes.
That's why I want to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with, well, I mean, of course, feeling good in your clothes is a great thing.
That's like a side issue. Yeah.
Right. But just feeling and looking healthy. That's the big thing for me anyway. Yeah. What's cooking, Sarah?
I made a really yummy meal last night. Actually, it was intended to be sort of stir-fry marinated pork, but I actually ended up cooking it slightly different. But I put loads of thinly sliced red cabbage and lettuce and spring onions. Oh my gosh. And I layered it with some mayonnaise in there and some salsa. It was absolutely delicious, but because it was so filled with the vegetables, it felt really big. It felt like a big meal, but actually, in fact, it was it did have meat, but it had a large amount of vegetables. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's something I'm going to do again, I think, in a different version maybe, but just trying to get loads of vegetables in there for health reasons, and then also for filling it out as well, because I like to feel like I've had a good meal. I don't want to have a skinny meal, small meal. So I don't want to feel hungry after I finished eating. So that was one thing that I'm going to do again in a different way.
Or deprived.
No, I wanted a big meal. What about you? What are you going to cook?
You know what I've been into is these small plates. I think online they're calling it girl food. Sorry about that, boys.
Oh, really?
But they're just little plates of things that I do, whether it's some roasted veggies with some olives and a bit of cheese.
Right.
And, like a little bread maybe. Or for anybody that doesn't like anchovies, this might gross them out. But like I love anchovies. So I'll have anchovies and again, some olives, some hummus, some veggies cut up to dip in the hummus, just like little plates of food to have, for lunch or dinner. And, and that's okay. I think just getting away from that whole mindset of we have to have a big meal. Yeah. So that's definitely what I'm having more of. What do you want to achieve this coming week?
I want to focus on routine. For me, I want to focus on routine this week.
Okay.
So I want to build in some dedicated times for all the things that we've spoken about, all the things I want to get in. So that's routine for me this week. Right. That's what my focus is.
Do you want to know what mine is?
Go on.
I want to go away because I'm going away I want to go away with my husband and not have an argument.
Okay, well,
So,
that's
yeah. And it helps too if I'm feeling good and
Yes.
about myself. That
Yeah.
helps. Yeah.
well,
Anyway.
that's positivity and remove the negativity. That's
Yeah.
yeah, good
Let
time to
things brush
start.
by me.
Let it
Yes.
flow. Yeah.
Yes. Join us next week. We're sharing ideas on way to enjoy the transformation. So people that want to lose weight and think, oh, you know, they're going to be deprived. No, Sarah and I've got you covered.
Yeah.
It's how to have fun when you're
Have
losing
fun.
weight. You know, be adventurous. So tune in for that episode. As always, thank you so much for listening. Please send us a message if there's a subject you'd like to have us cover. Visit our website, lovoniandsarah.com, for more on each episode, plus some yummy recipes. Find links in the notes below to connect with us on social media. We're now on YouTube. Watch us there. Also on videos on podcasts. Approaching each endeavor with confidence and a positive attitude can create an aura of charisma. When you show up for yourself, enjoy your own company on the journey, and naturally make better choices, you feel better about yourself, and this presents to others in such a positive way. Take ownership, be genuine. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.
Bye.